Around 1968, a socialite named Nan Kempner walked up to Le Côte Basque, one of the most exclusive restaurants in New York, and was stopped at the door. She was refused a table, not for her behavior, but because she was wearing a beautifully cut, perfectly tailored black evening suit with trousers. By the widely told account, she solved the problem on the spot. She took the trousers off, left them at the door, and walked into the dining room wearing the long jacket alone. Dress. She adhered to the strict dress code to the letter while making a complete mockery of it. The suit that caused that friction was introduced by Yves Saint Laurent. He called it le smoking. A tuxedo is essentially just a black suit. The cut is standard, the cloth is entirely ordinary. To understand why putting one on a woman caused public scandals and got people turned away from restaurants, we have to look past the fabric itself. The answer is found in what that fabric was allowed to mean. In the mid-1960s, formal evening wear for a woman meant a gown. That was the absolute boundary of what dressed up meant in polite society. A woman in trousers at a black tie event was breaking an unwritten rule. The dinner jacket she might have seen across the table had a specific French name, le smoking. That name comes directly from the smoking room. This was the closed room a man withdrew to after dinner with his pipe and cigar, slipping into a designated jacket so the heavy smoke would not cling to his clothes. The entire garment was built around a male ritual, isolated inside a male space. From its name down to its tailoring, it belonged to men. Putting that exact silhouette on a woman crossed a strict social border. It took a piece of clothing native to a heavily policed, male-dominated room and placed it directly into the open. Women wearing menswear did exist before this point. Earlier in the century, Coco Chanel had integrated loose trousers into her own wardrobe and designs. In the 1930s, Marlene Dietrich wore men's clothes on screen. Saint Laurent later stated that a 1933 photograph of Dietrich in a man's suit directly struck and inspired him. But those examples lived safely on the margins. You might see a woman in trousers on a film set or a beach as leisure wear. You did not see it in the most formal, strictly regulated category of dress, haute couture evening wear. That changed with Saint Laurent's autumn-winter collection in 1966. He took the women's tuxedo out of the margins and onto a formal runway. He did not invent the concept of a woman in trousers. His true innovation was taking a marginalized subversion and turning it into a permanent fixture of high fashion. This diagram shows the architecture of le smoking. It was not a loose copy of a man's suit. He took the codes of the dinner jacket and surgically recut them for a woman's body, starting with straight-legged black trousers and a sharply tailored jacket. He retained the strict internal components, a crisp white ruffled organza shirt anchored by a traditional bow tie. Finally, he carried over the wide satin belt at the waist and the defining satin lapel the men's version had always featured. Every piece quotes menswear, and every piece is meticulously cut for a woman. He refused to soften the tuxedo with delicate fabrics, and he refused to treat it like a masquerade costume. By keeping those strict codes intact, he handed women the actual seriousness and authority of men's evening dress, entirely tailored to fit them. The initial reaction from traditional couture clients was tepid. These were women accustomed to buying made-to-measure gowns, and by some accounts, Saint Laurent sold famously few tuxedos that first season, possibly only one. But the ready-to-wear version sold through his Rive Gauche line caught fire. Younger women adopted the sharp tailoring as a uniform of independence. As that adoption spread, the societal friction increased. Incidents like Nan Kempner's standoff at Le Côte Basque happened because these unwritten rules were finally being tested out in the open. The intensity of that backlash is the clearest proof that the garment was working. Society pushed back because women were successfully wielding an authority the old guard was not yet ready to surrender. In 1975, the photographer Helmut Newton shot Le Smoking for French Vogue. He placed an androgynous figure in the suit on a dark Paris street at night. That image cemented the tuxedo's permanent place in the culture. Yves Saint Laurent never dropped the silhouette. He kept a version of Le Smoking in every collection he produced, totaling more than 200 variations until his retirement in 2002. Tracking a single garment back to the people it changed and understanding the historical weight it carried is exactly what we do here at Seam. If you value looking past the surface of clothing to understand the historical machinery operating underneath, subscribe to the channel. Le smoking allowed a woman to step into the exact authority of a man's evening dress and keep it. The public reaction targeted what the cloth actually said, that a woman could claim that power and refuse to give it back. So tell us in the comments, when else has a garment forced a shift in social expectations purely because of what it was allowed to mean, and who finally got to wear it? Clothing signals which spaces a person is allowed to occupy. One more garment, next time.